I'm a little owl and I'm the king. I'm in charge now.
Oh. Hello, I'm Father Aaron, and welcome back to
The Dungeon Minister!
Guys, seriously?
What? What's the problem?
Yeah, what's the problem?
What's the problem? That sounded ridiculous.
I think it sounded good.
Yeah, sounded like something a coward would do.
Okay, are you guys still upset about the whole kobolds or cowards thing?
Well, wouldn't you be?
Yeah, wouldn't you be?
Okay, I'm sorry, alright? I'm sorry I said it. I'm sorry, I do apologize. Are we cool now?
I don't know. Are we cool?
I don't think it was enough.
What do you mean it wasn't enough?
What do you expect me to do? I can't Guys.
What do I need to do?
You need to say that kobolds are brave.
Yeah, and the kobolds are great.
Kobolds are brave. Kobolds are great.
I didn't believe you.
Kobolds are brave and kobolds are great. Was that enough?
I think so.
Yeah, that'll do.
Okay, can we carry on then?
What are you waiting for?
Welcome to the Dungeon Minister. Thank you. Do not ever get kobolds to run your soundboard, honestly. We're going to talk today about my group's second adventure. After having cleared out, I'm sorry guys, having cleared out the kobold caves, they then began to wonder what was behind it, and the mayor of the town said, you know what, I bet they're up in that old keep. And he told them about the keep on the northern sea up there that had been there for years and years and years. And the mayor didn't quite know. He knew that it was built for the Goblin Wars. He didn't know a lot about its history. But he told them it was up there and said, well, if you want to go up and check it out, that would, it's probably where they are. We'll give you another reward if you can go out and find out what's happening, and we'll give you more if you can go out and solve what's happening. Great. Now, beginning this adventure, my middle boy decided he didn't want to play an elf anymore. He wanted to be a cleric. So I had the cleric in the town join their campaign. Actually, the cleric in the town was an older man who was running their parish church, and a new cleric had been sent up to be his apprentice to study under him. So a first level cleric. The other guy's like fourth level. And I started to develop the story that he used to adventure back in the day, but he doesn't anymore. We didn't go into why, but he doesn't adventure. He was only fourth level anyway. But he's got this first level guy up with him helping out. The first level guy is keen to adventure, so he goes with the elves. So it's still the two elves, my eldest and my youngest boy, and then the middle boy is playing a cleric. So off they go. It's more than a day's journey. It's about a day and a half. And so they have to camp overnight. During the night, they are set upon by a group of kobolds.
Hooray!
They're on their way down to the kobold caves. They are the troop rotation that's happening. You see, the kobolds and gnolls are holed up in a cave on sort of the northern side of the western end of the sea. And they have this keep as a forward operating base, and they're sending groups of kobolds down to the caves to rob passers-by. And what they do is they rotate the group of kobolds that's down there every once in a while, and when they do, they bring the treasure from those caves up to the keep. So that when inevitably humans get angry and attack those caves, there won't be as much treasure there. They won't lose as much, right? And as far as the gnolls are concerned, so they kill a few kobolds, what do we care? Because remember, gnolls are jerks. So, our adventurers are heading up there, and in the evening, they're camping on the road. They are set upon in the night by a group of kobolds who've just been making their way south. There's a big fight. Adventurers win. The kobolds get killed. And on they go. They get to the keep the following day, mid to late morning. They get up to the keep and they can spy through the foliage, they see this thing, and it's only 1 story tall. Remember, it was going to be a 3-story keep, but they'd only gotten the first floor of it built, the first story of it built. There's no arrow slits because you don't put arrow slits on the ground floor. And they can't really see anything going on. They see there is a door in the wall. Eventually that was going to get filled in once they built the 2nd floor, but that didn't get, and so it's still there. Anyhow, they proceed forward. They enter into the open. They start taking fire from one of the towers. Now, the towers are crumbled down. They're a ruin mostly. One at the back is sort of in good shape. It's sort of still standing, but the other 3 are all torn down. But there are kobolds stationed in the ruins of that old tower, essentially on the roof of the place now, hiding behind the remainders of the wall on that level. And they start raining arrows down. So now we've got to take care of these kobolds from the ground. Okay? Right away, magic missile goes out. Boom! One of the kobolds is down. Great, that's one taken care of. And then with arrow fire, actually I think sling fire, because one of the elves had a sling. They eventually take out the other one. They're minorly wounded. I think one of them gets hit once with one of the arrows, and so it's a minor wound. It's nothing too terrible. They head toward the doors. They're kind of loose on their hinges. They're clearly very old. They're falling apart. They shove one open, and the first thing that hits them is the stench. 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 This is the Kobold and Gnoll toilet. This is just where they go, right? They also throw garbage here. Anything they don't want, they just throw it out here. There's old bones, there's just old garbage in here. And they use it as a toilet, so it stinks. So they're still kind of reeling from the smell when out of a guard room off to their right, underneath where the kobolds were shooting them from the tower, out of that guard room emerge more kobolds. They're stationed here just for this purpose, and they have a fight. The party takes care of them, not too much problem. Now they're wondering, have we been heard? Did anybody hear us? Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Have we been heard? Well, the thing is, they had been heard, but the people who heard them, or the creatures that heard them, were the Gnoll and the other kobolds. And they figured, you know what, let them take care of it. Because again, these are not very brave creatures. So, they head into the guard room. Nothing happens, so they head into the guard room and check it out. And they see some straw mattresses lined around, and they find a few personal items. There's a knife, and for some reason one of my boys wants to keep the kobold's knife. I say, it's not a great knife. He says, I don't care, I want to keep it. Okay, fine. You know, little bits of string and skulls and bow, things that kobolds would find interesting. And a little bit of treasure. A little bit of treasure here and there. Each bed had a little area by they'd keep stuff at, and some they had a few copper pieces. Fine. They go up actually to the roof as well, and they find that those gnolls had their copper pieces on them in little purses, and it's just a handful of change, really. They come out of here, and they go across the hall over to an identical guard room on the other side with 5 little straw mattresses made up. So that's 5 in each room. There's no one in here, though. You see, these 5 who would have gone here were the ones they met on the road going south. And they would have replaced 5 of the kobolds down to the caves, and 5 would have come up and taken their space here. So they go back into the main hall, they hold their noses, stench, and they explore. Now, there's 3 other doorways. In addition to the 2 guard rooms, there's 3 other doorways. One is an open doorway, the other 2 have doors in them. One of them is locked. They try that one, it's locked. Then they go across the hall to where the open doorway is, and they walk in to what the cleric can immediately identify as a chapel. There's some iron candle stands that have been knocked over, and there were tapestries on the wall that were all ripped to shreds, and these look like recent destructions. But there's no furniture of any kind that's wood. The altars of stone, nothing else. They do find in a niche in the apse, they find 2 bottles of a clear liquid. And the cleric says, I think these are holy water. We'll have to check, but I think they're holy water. Great. Out they go, there's nothing else in here. They can't open the door across the hall, so they try the one at the end of the hall. They open it up, and there they spy the rest of the kobolds and this other creature. Now, this is the first time they've seen a gnoll, and so I describe it. It is also a dog-like creature, but bigger, more hyena-like, and it is clearly much stronger, and it's in charge. So a fight erupts between the adventurers and this gnoll and the kobolds. In the process of it, a couple of the kobolds are wounded and they boot it out an open doorway in one of the walls, in the east wall of this chamber. Out they go. The fight wraps up and the adventurers win. Now what they immediately notice is that the gnoll has quite a nice sword. This is not the sword you would expect from this level of monster. This is a nice sword. It's in pristine condition. Of course, it's a magic sword, right? So one of the boys takes it. The eldest, of course, the eldest always gets the sword. And they chase the kobolds that ran into the kitchen. And there they find those two kobolds plus another one who had been preparing dinner or lunch or whatever. And they find them in there cowering, holding kitchen knives and that kind of stuff. Well, those three surrender. They give up. Great. Got them. What do we do with them? The eldest had bought some rope, and so he trusses them up. And I had meat hooks hanging on the wall, like from back when this was a going concern of a small castle. They would hang the meat hooks. So they hang the kobolds on the meat hooks from, are all tied together. And they're all tied with one rope. Do you cut the rope into pieces? No, just leave it all. Just loop them, and then a section over it, because that way if we have to march them somewhere, I can hold the rope and we can march them somewhere. Great, okay. So they're all trussed up and hung from these meat hooks. In this kitchen, there is a staircase that goes up to a tower, and that tower is still largely intact. They go up that, they find up there's another kobold who had also been in the kitchen, but who had retreated up the stairs. And as they enter, he fires a crossbow at them, and one of them is wounded, but then the other two make quick work of the guy. I mean, it's a kobold, right? They don't have any healing potions on them. The cleric is first level, so he can't cast any spells, so they're just kind of dealing with the wounds they have. What they don't know is they've passed almost all of the danger. All of the monsters who are going to do damage to them, they've pretty much passed. They don't know that, though, so they're very cautious. What they don't do is examine the bodies of the kobolds and the gnoll. I mean, they took the sword, but they didn't look at anything else. They go across the hall. There's two doorways there. There's two doors, actually. And they go through, and these also look in relatively good condition. The north of the two chambers, the tower collapsed there, and the rubble almost fills the room, so it's no good there. The other one, though, is intact, and there's a bed, an actual bed. It's a rough-looking bed, kind of made like a camp bed, that probably the kobolds made themselves from things they found in the woods. But this is where the gnoll slept. And at first, nothing in particular in this room, but then one of them spies under the bed. There's a long, flat, iron chest. Aha! Let's open it. Ooh. Let's open it, they say. Yeah, it's locked. Oh, how are we going to get that open? Of course, the key is hanging around the neck of the dead gnoll in the other room, but they didn't check him. So, okay, they're frustrated with that. Well, let's check out that other room. Maybe the key to this chest is in that other room. Okay, well, all right. How are you going to get in? How are we going to get in? It's then they remember there's holes in the roof and all through the place. There's gaps in the roof. And as we're going, I've been saying, the sunlight pours in through here, through a hole in the roof. Okay, so maybe there's holes over that section too. So they go back into the first room that they were in and up those stairs for the tower, because obviously there were kobolds up there shooting down at them. They've gone up and they've taken the treasure from those two bodies, so clearly they can get up there. And they get up and they look over what is, the roof of the keep, which had been intended to be the second floor of it, but it didn't ever happen. And they see, indeed, in the area that they're looking to enter, there are some gaps in the roof, and big enough for a person to get through. So then they've got to walk across the wall. And I said, okay, you're going to have to make a dexterity check. And so they do a dexterity check. One of the elves stumbles, just misses the dexterity check. So I say you don't fall all the way through, but you almost go crashing through the hole back into the guard room. But he makes it past that, and they make their way. They get to the area, and they look down and say, it's a long way down. It's like 15 feet down. If that's too far to jump. And, what are we going to do? Should I lower you down? Now, if only we had some rope. I said, well, I've got some. Oh, I had some rope, but we tied the kobolds up with it. What are we going to do? And they look down in, and they can just see something moving down there. So they're curious. Well, the eldest has a light spell. So he casts light down into the chamber. And it illuminates the chamber brightly, and all they see is something scuttle away into the corner. Something big scuttles away into the corner. But directly below them, there is a cage. It's a proper cage, bars and everything. Big, stout wooden bars, but it's proper cage. And it's a relatively large cage, and in the middle of it, because it doesn't have a top, the top is also bars. They look down, and in it they see a halfling sitting there, and he looks up and he calls to them and says, "Help, help! It keeps attacking me." They're like, "What is it? What is it?" He said, "I don't know, but it has tentacles on its face, and it hits me with a tentacle, and I fall asleep, and when I wake up, it's trying to get into the cage." It's a carrion crawler. It has been stunning him, but because he's in the cage, you can't actually get him. Okay. The gnolls and the kobold knew this thing was in here. They caught this halfling, and so they go in, they throw him in there, they run out, right? They're gonna let the carrion crawler torment him, and then maybe later they'll kill him. So, okay, what are we gonna do? How do we get down there? No, we can't just jump down. So what they decide to do is lower one of them down to the top of the cage, and then he climbs down, and he's trying to free the halfling when out from the shadows comes the carrion crawler. Now, it's the cleric who's been lowered down there. And so, now what are we going to do now? So, big fight erupts. The eldest gets lowered down. The great thing about a carrion crawler is, especially if you have a party, if you're adventuring with a party, if they hit and you miss your saving throw, you're paralyzed, right? You're not dead. It'll come and eat you later, but the rest of your party has a chance to save you, to either drag you to safety, to kill the carrion crawler, whatever, and eventually you'll recover. Now, as it happened, they did get hit, but made the saving throw, and they killed the carrion crawler, let the halfling out, but now they're stuck. They're stuck here. Like, what do? We can't get out. Well, the elf who's up on the roof says, "I'll go get the rope. I'll stick the kobolds up in the tower, and I'll tell them if they come down, we'll kill them." They're waiting, for a while the elf goes back along the wall, down the stairs, through the keep, unties all of the kobolds, sends them up the stairs, says, "You wait up there and do not come down." Right? He's got a big battle axe, this elf. My youngest had decided he wanted a battle axe. So he's very threatening. He's very, Okay, so up they go. He runs back with the rope, ties it off, throws it down, and then goes back to get the kobolds to make sure they don't come down. He comes back into the main hall. The other guys are climbing up the rope, helping the halfling and the whole 9 yards. That's all happening as he comes into the hall, and he spots one of the kobolds taking the key off of the gnoll's body. And that's when he puts it together, "Oh yeah, maybe we should have checked, And he takes care of that kobold, takes the key just as the others are finally getting their way into the hall. And he says, "Quick, the other kobolds, this kobold was here, and this is what happened, go, 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 go." So they run into the kitchen, they go up the stairs, just in time to see one of the last kobolds slipping out one of the arrow slits. Tower, because it's on the second level, did have arrow slits, slipping out the arrow slit and clambering down the outside wall. And they know they're not going to catch him by the time they get out. So they say, well, we've got this key at least. We'll see what it opens. And it opens a treasure chest. Silver, gold, copper, some gems. Fabulous. So they now have this treasure and they have too much to carry home. So what they do is they take all the gold, they take all the gems, they take most of the silver, they take the remaining copper and silver, and they're going to bury it. And they bury it in the woods. So they have cleared out the keep. Well done. You've accomplished your mission. They take as much of the treasure as they can carry south, and they return home. They have to camp on the way home again, but no incident. And they arrive home, and the mayor is very thankful. "Oh, wonderful, good job, here's your reward. Thank you for your service to Honeywood." And then that's it, right? Except they all have this nagging problem in the back of their mind that a couple of kobolds escaped. And wherever they came from, they're on their way back there now. What do you think? Do the horn?
Yeah, gotta do the horn. Yeah, do it.
All right. For you. No.